I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. I write them down. I commit them to my sponsor. I don't eat in between no matter what. Abstinence is the most important thing I do in my day, and I do it with the blessing of a power greater than myself. It is an honor to be asked to share always. It is a blessing and a gift to be abstinent. I don't take it lightly. And it's a privilege to be able to have all of you here and for us to share together. And that's the only thing that matters in this moment. And I always want to tell people, I may not say what you need to hear. Keep coming back. Somebody will. I'm not here to save you. I don't believe in that. And I'll never admit that I have a magic wand to get you abstinent, keep you abstinent, and change your life. I don't. I can't sit next to you. You can't sit next to me. And by osmosis, it just happens. Can't. What I can do is what the big book says and what our literature says, which is share the message. Just share the message. And I think I kind of said, what am I going to talk about? I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, because I'm always one thought away from catastrophe in my head. I take it on. I change it to Eastern time and not BS. If that's the only thing that happens to me today, then I had a wonderful day. I had the day of my life, if that's all that happens. If I make that most important thing, then, oh boy, I don't know where I've been sitting, but it isn't in a 12-step meeting. One of the things I really wanted, I think, most people know my story. I stood out on Fifth Avenue and begged to be abstinent, begged to stop eating. And for me, I do believe, just like the big book, for me, to eat is to die. That is the level of where I came in. And I'm going to use a lot of the little sayings and quotes because people have been mentioning them lately since I've been on a meeting a day, and I love when they say, bedroom slippers, we come in for the vanity and stay for the sanity. I'm still working on the sanity part, but I'm still here. And one of the things we read the preamble every day, and I want to know, I sometimes worry that, am I really listening to our purpose and our preamble? And when I had to share on a meeting that was the Cambridge message, only say the Cambridge message. And I was like, what is that? Is it different than what, And I started laughing because there are so many meetings and so many different things. And it is that we weigh and measure 3 meals a day. That is the Cambridge message. And we don't eat no matter what, black coffee, tea, or diet soda. But one of the other things that the preamble says, and I think it's so important for all of us, and it is the only requirement for membership is the desire to stop eating compulsively. It isn't you like me, I don't like you, I do. It isn't because I have a lot of weight. It isn't. It literally says it is a desire to stop eating compulsively. We read it all the time, but then me and we get into our stories. But that's it. It also says, and this is really purpose, is to stay abstinent and help other compulsive eaters to achieve abstinence. It doesn't say I have a magic wand. It doesn't say anything. It says I stay abstinent and then I help another person. And how do I do that? Not by taking their stories, I take their food because that is where I am. That's what I can do because that's what the program tells me to do. All the other stuff is my opinion. So it can get a little crazy when you start asking for somebody, what do they think? Oh, what should I do? If it's not on the gray sheet and it's not written in our literature, I try and stay away from it. It is not healthy for me or the other person. It is really, really understanding why did I walk in the door? I was desperate. That's why. OA didn't work, how didn't work. I did them all. And I literally always want to remember that I said, I don't need to find a friend. I don't need to tell anybody how successful I am. I don't need to tell anybody I'm a nice person. I need to be abstinent based on what they tell me to do. I don't want to care how someone talked to me in the meeting. I don't want to walk, oh, they're mean. Let me tell you, being weight and having a food problem, you can't get any meaner than that for me. It was the worst suffering I could ever endure. Someone saying something offhandedly, I can get over that. But carrying that ton of shame, oh, self hatred, that feeling that, what am I going to do? Or that feeling of maybe Monday I can get started. Well, I do have a wedding. Well, maybe that that constant wish that wasn't ever materializing. So I did walk in that room. And when that person said, do this, I said yes. And I never stopped saying yes because that is all there is. There's nothing else for me but to say yes to weighing and measuring my food. It is not a diet. That's the Cambridge message. We do the biggest and the best. They did. They told me again. I was like, they said it's the signs we used to have on the floor. I was like, okay, we do the biggest and the best. It really isn't a diet. It is for me a way of life. And I found that I don't get into the minutia of all the talk and all the stuff. I stay very focused on the tools and what the tools say. When the tool said weigh and measure, I weigh and measure. It said, well, the tools don't say plan, prepare, protect. We do, but that's a message. I plan, I prepare, and I protect, right? It says literature. It says go to meetings. I go to meetings. I don't worry about what the person said or didn't say. I show up to a meeting. If I didn't get what I need, it's my responsibility. I go to another meeting. That's my job, not anybody else's. And the moment I make it someone else's, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble because then I'm asking you to save me. I can't do that. It's not fair to me or you. We can only give what we have. What I have is knowing how to weigh and measure my food. What I have is one meal may not be a number 10, but I have another meal coming. Cambridge, another meal is coming, right? What I have is I pick up the phone. I make those 3 contacts a day, even now, you know. And when they say, can you give us your abstinent date? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Because for me, it started when I woke up this morning. It starts when I wake up this morning and all I want to do is go to bed abstinent. And yes, it does help people. So sometimes I say it. But other times I want to remember I am one thought away from a bite. I'm no different than the person that's here today for the first time ever. I'm not different. I just show up to more meetings. I just do what you tell me to do. I read the literature. I just do the service. And I want to talk about service because sometimes we think it's on such a grand level. Service is sometimes just being the timer. And the biggest service that anyone I feel can do is to share and share your struggles because you're not alone. And I don't care how far down the scale I've gone or somebody else has gone. I know what it feels like to want to eat. Weighing and measuring changed my life, but it changed my life through my thinking. And it doesn't mean that sometimes that thinking doesn't get cloudy. It does. But putting my food on the scale removes the clouds. I know that sounds strange to some people. We all have to find out what's inside of us that keeps us going, right? What keeps me going is the leveling of those 3 meals a day and understanding that they're weighed and measured, understanding that they're planned, understanding that the shame is lessened because I talk to my sponsor. I talk to my sponsees. It doesn't make it a secret. It doesn't make it something I can't do. And when I do that in the rest of my life opens up in ways that I couldn't imagine. Has nothing to do with all the degrees, has nothing to do with who I'm friends with, has nothing to do with, oh my God, this is going to happen, and those things are nice. I'm not poo-pooing them. But what for me, I can only tell my story and share my experience. I'm not a teacher. Can't teach you anything. I can't teach you the rooms, but I can share what it does for me and some of the things I do in order to have it work for me. And that is, I go to the food and I weigh and measure. I weigh and measure. And when somebody says something or does something or something upsets me, be it work was really oh my God. That's another share. I got to keep it light and I'll weigh and measure today because we're around the holidays. Relationships, people, places, and things. Weighing and measuring. Even when my mom was sick and I was taking care of her for a little bit, when I went to weigh and measure my food, it was meditative because it took me out of the problem and brought me only into the solution. And I'm never going to tell someone it's easy because some days were not easy for me. Some days they were just a struggle. But I made it through by doing the tools, calling someone, going to a meeting, you know, reading the literature, just really reading it and going one paragraph and saying how that paragraph, what did it mean to me? Not trying to read a whole page of a book. Oh, because you don't get it. It's okay. As they say, it's not a moral issue. It's not a moral issue. There is something about the foundation and allowing that foundation to take hold. And when I feel the foundation is a little rocky, I show up to meetings, more meetings. And I thank you, Joel. I see it. And I tell the truth. The truth is that a few weeks ago, I started feeling shaky. And it isn't because I don't go to meetings or whatever. Sometimes I don't know what it is. And that's okay. But I do know that the disease starts in the head, it's the thinking. So I go to what I've been doing. So, what I love about the rooms, these guidelines say share it or wear it. Share it or wear it. I share it. I am not recovered. I'm not one of those. I am recovering on a daily basis, one meal at a time, one thought at a time. No magic wand here. The magic and the beauty is in going to bed and not making a promise that tomorrow I'll do better. When I get through that, I know life is sweet. Life is sweet. When I get through the holidays, and for some reason this year it's tough. So, yes, sometimes you're seeing me at all different meetings. So, I'm coming in the morning, I'm going at night, I'm doing the how to listen to God and early in the morning. There's a 9:45. I just like, hey, stay close to the rooms. That's what I do. Stay close to the rooms. And again, as I wrap up, remember sharing is a service. Sharing is a service. It may not be the literature committee or the website committee or the book. It is a service to yourself and everyone else in that room. Because the moment, even when you have 1 hour that you've been sitting there and you tell me a story, it could help me. Even with 26 and a half years, it can still help me. But when you hold it to yourself and think it's all yours, that's not healing. That's being selfish and it's eating. It's just eating in a different way. You're eating yourself up. That's my belief. It is sharing about where we are, being accepting of every single person, even if they don't say or do what you think they should. It's only an hour meeting. There's another one. But just embracing because we share a disease, a food addiction. And sometimes it's in the toilet, sometimes it's underweight, sometimes it's overweight. We share a disease. And that's why the purpose and the preamble say we have no opinion on outside issues. We stay in this room and deal with what is, and it is, I am a food addict who today weighs and measures her food without exception, accepts everybody exactly how they come, and learn to accept that in myself as well. And I do that because I'm abstinent and I have the clarity to know that something needs to be changed, altered, or looked at. It may not be solved until I figure it out, but there's something there, and that comes from the clarity of mind that being abstinent gives me. So if I have to put on my bedroom slippers the rest of the afternoon, I will. I will. And I hope each and every one of you here will. And if I have to get the biggest, I hope that I will. I don't really care that much about how big it is or how special. I just say, for me, and I don't poo-poo anybody who does, but for me, it's quick, down and dirty and abstinent. That's it. That's it for me. But other people, maybe something else. So thank you so much for just staying in the room with me, hearing me, and allowing me to love you and receive your love back. Thank you so much.